Welcome to Living Your Main Love, the podcast that celebrates the people who are living with passion, purpose, and a whole lot of heart. Each month, we'll sit down with people who are following what lights them up in Maine and beyond. Welcome to the Living Your Main Love podcast. I am here with the one, the only, probably the most important guest we could ever have, Jen Millard, CEO, co-founder of Mainelove. This guy.
Great to be here, Jeannie.
Jen, it's so great to sit with you in this whole cool vibe here.
Absolutely.
We are asked questions all the time about Mainelove. How did it come to be? Like, who knew the water was so amazing in Maine? So we're going to just, knock it all out here and answer all your questions. Well, let's start at the very beginning. How did this idea come to be?
Well, it kind of came to be in a couple different manifestations, I would say. I had been working on an alcohol brand, actually for an artist. Of course, everyone has their own alcohol brand. And so one of Ryan Reynolds' friends decided that she needed to make a tequila and didn't have any idea how to do that. And in the research for that project is really where I first started the noticing the decline of alcohol in Gen Z specifically. And the more I researched the market, the more I recognized, one, no one should be building a new tequila line. No one should be building an alcohol line. But boy, is there a lot of opportunity in a non-alc space and at this moment in time. And so then, that kind of gets put away in your brain and your life moves forward. And I was here in Maine, and Frank Grondin asked me to come visit him at Brickyard Hollow. And their facility is over in Gray, Maine. And they had acquired a larger facility a few years ago. And when I got there, expecting production levels like Laverne and Shirley back in the day with the cans spinning and all that, that's all in my mind I could think of. I get to the brewery and it's silent. And I didn't understand. So I asked the brewer, okay, boys, what are we making today? And I know these brewers. And they said, oh, Jen, we've already made all our beer today. And I was like, okay, well, what are we making tomorrow? We got all this, equipment. Oh, no, we made all our beer. I'm like, so we're not making anything else? Nope, we make beer. And so, my God, all this infrastructure is just sitting there connected. How do we think about diversification? And then I started, I'd done one other water brand. I had done some early work with Liquid Death in the early days. Obviously a different persona. Anyone can be a rebel at any age, but they're entertainment first. And I really was really trying to think of how do I do something in Maine that's impactful, and sort of stumbled on this brewer concept that we have 65 brewers that pull from Sebago Lake, even more if you include the watershed, which we would include. The water is of infinite quality, and infinite quality due to Sebago Lake and the trees around Sebago Lake. And I just felt like Mainers don't understand the abundance and the quality level that they enjoy. They take it for granted. And so I started down the path of walking breweries, meeting brewers. I walked 42 brewers in 90 days, and every brewer had the same issues. So, we are by no means a savior for the beer industry, but we do enable brewers who can meet an FDA food quality facility level, a GMP quality facility. We will take their water. And then, how do you think about the economics here? One of the things that was most important as I was putting the business model together was, how do we keep all the money in Maine? Maine has been providing water for generations outside of Maine, even ice. There's a picture of my grandfather sawing ice cubes off a lake up in Anson, Maine, in the winter, pack it with sawdust, and they would ship it down to Boston and to New York. And so Maine has been exporting water forever. The economics for the water don't often stay within the state. So it was a really important exercise for me to get the business model as tight as possible so that I can make the can. I issue the can to the brewer. The brewer uses a formula that we provide and the ingredients that we pre-select and provide. They make the product just like a co-pack. We're basically encouraging brewers to grow up and become co-packs. My goal would be they make other things besides water for me. Of course, we want all their water, Jeannie.
Of course.
And that the economics for the water, I pay the brewer sort of co-op boat price like we do in Maine for lobster or oysters or any of the other co-ops we run. They complete the work, return the water, send to test, and then we sell it under a master brand.
And they pay Portland Water District, correct?
Okay. And then they pay the water district for the water that they use at the commercial mill rate.
Right.
And it takes less water to make water in a can than it takes to make beer because we aren't boiling off any extra water. So the economics here feel really good to me that not only are the brewers able to keep people employed, goal number 1, job creation. The second goal being, let's keep the economics for the water in Maine as much as possible, meaning our source should always be receiving some sort of compensation for using that water. And then Portland Water District, and in combination with land trusts, we will participate as a give back to land trusts, because if we don't protect the forest, we will quickly lose the lake.
Right.
And so as we sort of put all that together, it just became a beautiful model that enabled community participation and job creation in an asset-light way, which is unique to me.
Well, it's interesting, too, that, you said nobody's even had thought of this before. I mean, because maybe it's because of the water's taken for granted, not realizing this resource.
So it's 2 out of 5 Mainers drinking water today. Interestingly, it is considered municipal water, but of the best in the nation. So the EPA shows up every few years and does some magical inspection and expects to instill some sort of governance. And every time Maine gets a waiver, so the Portland Water District doesn't even filter for solids for water to come to your house. We do, because nobody wants a floaty in a can, Jeannie.
Right. No.
But it is not required. So the water that gets served to Mainers at home is literally water with a sanitation element, a chloridamide in it.
So that is one way that Mainelove is really different, is that we are source first. I mean, is there anybody else source first? Like,
I think there's a couple people that try, but it's almost a cheat. Like, I think Voss did a reasonable job for a while, and then it was too unaffordable to do glass. And then they moved to plastic. And then I think, there's a couple other examples, that try, I would say, to be source first. But I think in the canned water area, we are the only source first. And if you expanded it to all water, I think we're the only source in the United States that's so proud of where we get the water that we put the state on the can.
Here it is. Here it is, the best. So let's talk a little more about the source, Sebago Lake.
Yes.
Which is, we've talked to Paul Hunt, who's the environmental manager there, and the water is so clean, obviously because of the natural filtration.
You can see 30 to 50 feet down in this lake. If you go in this lake, John Violet, who is our head of sales, was out on Sebago Lake. He's like, it's real, Jen. You can see really far. And so it's a privilege. We should think of it as a privilege to have Sebago Lake as our gold standard of water for drinking. Interestingly, it's also the gold standard for beer. So beer makers in other states often change their water chemistry to be like Sebago Lake because it's a very natural pH level. It's a very hydrating pH level. It doesn't have a very high mineral content. So it's a nice pH. It's a soft drink. It's not going to feel it's not going to feel acidic. Sometimes we hear feedback for other water brands. This one tastes milky. This one tastes salty. This one tastes a little sharp. I don't think you taste that here. The feedback we get is it just tastes like water, Jen.
Yeah. Yeah. And infinitely replenishable. I've had, a few people, I manage social media for Mainelove, a comment about, well, you're taking the water from us. Like, there's plenty of water.
Yeah. So the interesting factoid here is Sebago Lake is considered infinitely replenishable as long as it rains. though we've had a little bit of a drought this summer in Maine, so I often get that question as well. But the lake is at an all-time high. So I think if you talk to some residents on the lake, they would claim that the water table is high on the lake and they have some erosion challenges. And then if you talk to others, they really think that we're taking the water, which in fact we're not. And the amount of water here is insignificant to the total. And Paul Hunt has that statistic, and we could pull that out, Jeannie. But this is really an infinite source. And whether you believe in global warming or not, it is very clear coming home to Maine that our growing season is now longer. It was 70 degrees yesterday, Jeannie. It's the middle of October.
I know.
You know, when I was a kid, we wore winter jackets under our Halloween costumes, or it might have snowed. It isn't that way anymore. We have a little extended growing season as you start to, I think, see this in Maine. We have, water temperatures rising that impact the seafood industry. And so I see no scenario where Maine doesn't get more rain. We might get less snow, but I think we'll get more precipitation. It'll just be different.
I think Paul said that, like, with all the customers, it just takes 10 inches off the top of the lake on a yearly, which is like nothing. It's an amazing resource that no one needs to worry about, and we just want to share.
And I think, it being 2 out of 5 Mainers drinking water, we should be really proud. Proud that we have this resource, proud that we protect the resource, proud that there are landowners willing to, sell land to land trusts, to enable public access, to prevent forest deforestation. Mm-hmm. I think in this case, it truly does take a village to maintain this lake in the quality level that it is today. And it's just been a joy to work with the people at SebagolLake.org and Paul Hunt at the Water District and all the brewers to really make sure that, I believe that everybody has to win in order to win. And I feel like this business model makes everybody win. And if everybody wins, everybody's happy.
Amen.
And that is the goal here is rising tides, rise all ships.
That's right.
And if we can help bring economic development to Maine and help tell Maine's story outside of Maine, then we're doing our job.
And what a perfect partnership with the brewers because of the, aluminum that's how they already work.
Well, the vessel is already indicative of an alcohol expression. So people feel, the number one comment I get on social media is, I'm sober, I'm newly sober, I'm 10 years sober. Thank you for making something that I can hold and feel inclusive. And I'd say that was early learnings at Liquid Death as well in bars. Was very much a little more California sober, maybe on the West Coast,
for sure.
But the same kind of mindset. People want to belong. People want to feel included. Yeah. And if we can create something that makes people feel included, I feel really proud.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about this importance of sustainability?
I think as Mainers, we are. I'm 12 generations Maine, Jeannie. So Mainers, humble, proud, very hardworking. One of our investors used to work at FEMA, and her quote for Maine was, "By the time FEMA even got to Maine had already cleaned up Maine. Neighbors helping neighbors, moving trees out of roads and driveways, and there was really nothing for FEMA to do." Now, it might be a slight exaggeration, but I don't think she's wrong. And so the collaboration and the community here are really what make the difference. And without the collaboration of rising tides, I would say, especially with our chemists and our brewers, to get consistency among brewers is the hardest challenge for us because this is distributed manufacturing. Mm-hmm. But we've had such just incredible partnership and love from everyone to bring this to life.
Yeah.
I don't think I certainly wouldn't be able to do this in California or in Texas or in New Mexico because I don't think those cultures aren't trying to think of solutions in the way. And Mainers are very practical. So we could wait another 10 years and still be talking about plastic.
Yeah.
Or we could decide to do something about it.
Yeah.
And so I think the bias to action in Maine, people get things done.
True. I've seen it firsthand.
Full stop. Like people get things done here. There's lots to do. It's hard to live here. The weather is rugged. that's what keeps people young here, I think. And that's why we have one of the oldest states, is because people are so active.
It's so true. I would not have known that until I started coming to Maine, but yes, 100% true. I'm not surprised about the FEMA story at all because you guys are just doing and working, and the bias to action is real. So one of, a really important part of our mission is this reduction of single-use plastic, especially in like large venues like stadiums and hotels and
colleges,
everything.
hospitality,
So,
entertainment venues, amusement parks, anywhere where you'd be in a place where you're restricted to bring a water bottle, need to buy a water. We've, always say it starts with cans, cases, pallets, trucks. All right. We're trying to continue as we move down the road. When we started the company, a lot of people were trying to encourage me to choose a different vessel. I still come back, we have a lot of kelp farming up here in Jeannie. Why can't you do a kelp kind of milk carton? I don't want to teach people to drink out of kelp right now. I do think there's a great opportunity for kelp and the enzymes and all this farming and all those things. So not throwing up on kelp, but I didn't want to teach people how to drink out of a new vessel.
Yeah.
And so everyone knows how to recycle aluminum. Let's just be straightforward. And 70% of a can of aluminum, when recycled, is repurposed statistically in 45 days.
That's wild.
So everyone's like, but do you use recycled aluminum? You need a little virgin aluminum to make every can. So you can't make a full can out of recycled aluminum.
Yeah, we're doing it the best we
can. We're doing it the best we can.
Yeah.
And I don't care how old you are. If you're 70 or you're 4, you know how to recycle aluminum. Mm-hmm. You know where to put the can.
That's right.
Typically. So consumer confusion is actually one of the pieces in the market. Water is really crowded. Do you know water is food? Do you know where your water comes from? And so we try to be very straightforward. Very direct.
Okay, and can we talk about the glass? Why don't you make
everyone
glass?
I would love to do a glass vessel. Everyone loves the feel of glass.
Yes.
But the more you learn about glass, like literally, the more I sort of shudder around glass. Glass is very difficult for rural communities to recycle. I would not have guessed to the degree. And often they're shipped out of Maine because there isn't a furnace in Maine that is hot enough to fire to repurpose glass. And so a lot of that gets shipped to Boston. And then I'm told really any colored glass is even harder to repurpose. And that actually can only be fired down in New Jersey. So if you go to your local recycling community, your town dump, wherever you're taking your recyclables, you'll likely see a large bin of glass. And it's waiting to get full enough to ship somewhere else.
So there you go.
So one more reason that aluminum is fantastic.
We love it. It's working.
And the other thing is, I know people really want resealable products, but resealable products enable contaminants.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest issues in the water market is litigation. And so one of the reasons we don't have a reusable vessel is because it is safer for the consumer to actually consume it and throw it away.
Makes total sense. But this is all such good education, right? Hopefully in an entertaining way. One of my favorite things that you say is that, besides being, we want everyone to share the amazing water with everyone, is that we're really just about love and harmony from Maine and kind of shining that light on everyone. Can you talk a little bit about the whole, just, how we want everyone to be happy and the positive vibes and the community side of the business?
I think coming home to Maine really kind of re-engaged kind of some of that community connection that honestly I'd been missing. And I think not really recognizing I had been missing in, my software career and other parts of my life. And so coming back to Maine with an intention has really been a very powerful mission for me personally. And I think I spend a lot of time with young people. I spend a lot of time, with young entrepreneurs. It is my joy. And I also it was kind of two pieces. I wanted to show young people that I'm 57. This is my 5th company. You can make a difference at any age. And a lot of times young people, feel like if they aren't Mark Zuckerberg by 30, that they have been a failure. And I wanted to show you can make a difference at any stage of your career.
Love it.
And then I think on the community side, I realize that at this point of chaos, regardless of your beliefs, the world feels very chaotic.
Yes.
And it feels beautiful to talk about love and harmony from Maine.
It does.
And I have sort of adopted that as my mindset, that my joy is to provide joy to others in a very simple product with a very simple mission of providing a choice for consumers. So if you don't want to drink water in plastic, choose aluminum. Help other water brands that are done. Be frenemies with them. Drive more aluminum in category, so that people have choices. So we'd love for people to eliminate single-use plastic in their life.
Yes.
I would highly recommend
Yes.
people do that and do their best. It is hard. It is not necessarily easily affordable. And so Mainers are very fortunate to have this as drinking water, but a lot of other states have very poor water quality. People don't trust their water. They don't trust what they're told about their water.
True.
And they don't know where their water comes from. And often it is municipal water, repackaged by someone else.
Yeah, I know. I live in California. I don't drink the water. Like, ship the Mainelove to me.
And I think as part of the sort of education around starting the company, it extends to pets.
Yes.
So I always like to share,
Yes.
if the water from your tap is not good enough for you or your family,
Yeah.
most people are also who consider their pets family members. Why would I be giving my animal water out of the tap? And so there's a big opportunity and even water for pets and pet water.
Coming soon. Coming soon. So speaking of states with poor water, where are we going to see Mainelove next?
Well, we have a big push coming up to penetrate New Hampshire and down through Massachusetts before the holidays. That'll be our first big lift. And then really it's a big leapfrog down to Florida. We have a lot of snowbirds that go back and forth. Maine has a great reputation in Florida. And, unfortunately, Florida is beautiful, but does sit below sea level. Yeah. So their water quality is a struggle because they have a lot of brack water, a lot of salt water, a lot of marsh, a lot of seawater. And it's a big struggle for them. And so we literally got licensed in Florida in one day. How quickly can you bring water from Maine to Florida?
Come on. It's a sign.
And so we're actively working on pipeline and expression in Florida right now.
It's so awesome. What are some of your, if you look back at the last year, some of your proud moments or moments where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening? Or have there been any of those sort of
there's so many, Jeannie. Well, first of all, I always describe Maine as one small town in one big state. So one of the joys is you can meet everyone in a very short period of time. And I've had an amazing experience meeting business people, all the entrepreneurial community here, banks, all the ecosystem that you need to drive and grow a business. You can actually reach state officials in Maine. They'll answer your phone call. It's amazing. And they're very genuine and authentic and want you to be successful. So it has been a joy.
It has been a joy for me as well.
I would say one of the fondest moments is really to see our team come to life. We do have a lot of early in career, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
But, I think we leased a marketing truck, seeing how our own team was so excited on naming our truck. And logoing our truck and the love for our marketing, we call it the Thirst Responder.
Yeah.
It's getting its own license plate this week.
And probably its own Instagram soon.
And probably its own Instagram because people are sending pictures of the Thirst Responder forever. Just the joy of seeing people have levity.
Yeah.
That it's not serious. It doesn't need to be a serious product.
Yeah.
It's water. You need to know where it's from.
Yeah.
It's simple. And then I think seeing some of our social expression, the people within our group that, are showing up at events, leaning in, carrying water, putting up tents, literally doing whatever's needed on a really actionable basis. And I'm just thrilled to have such a beautiful team.
I mean, you've handpicked everybody on this team. So,
well, I've been fortunate to have worked with most of the team.
Yeah.
in prior
prior.
lives.
Yeah.
Even you and I,
Yeah, I
know each other
know.
from a prior life.
I know.
And I sort of kept track of you. And clock people away, file them away. And then, I'm like, oh, I think I'm ready for Jeannie now.
I know.
I think I'm ready for Ryan. I think I'm ready for John.
Yeah.
And so it has been a joy of my career to build teams. I've built amazing teams at other companies and have been fortunate to have people work for me multiple times, which is the best blessing you could ever imagine as a manager or as a business leader. And I really hope that continues here.
I think it will. What do you look for? Because this is going to be interesting for other people looking to hire and build teams. What do you look for in a team member?
I actually think it's the variety of thinking. So, we have a bias to action. We're doers, we're sleeves up. Titles do not equate power,
Yep.
equal voices. And all of this sounds very startup-like.
It's true, though.
But it's true.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a difference. And I'd just like to see that continue to manifest and grow as we get bigger.
Yeah. And advice for Gen Z who are getting out in the workforce.
Demand to be in person. And we are very intentionally in person. And I think that's how people learn.
Yeah.
And I think COVID really, really impacted young people in a way that was very isolating.
Sure.
And somehow convinced them that they were winning working at home. Like working from home was the best,
Yeah.
right? And now getting people back to office, wanting to be in person, really be brave. You're going to learn so much more and you're going to feel like you have a team around you versus just Hollywood squares on a Zoom screen.
Oh my God. I can't imagine starting my career remotely.
Yeah, my daughter started her job remotely.
Yeah, it's so
Never
hard.
met anyone in person. So isolating. And not really a way to, early in career, you need to be around other professionals. You need to hear a lot of things that go wrong, things that go right, how people correct problems, how people react to problems, right? And then I think the other piece of advice for that generation is that's a generation that's really grown up with a rubric of how to be successful at school.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you get an A on this paper. This is how you get a grade on a specific project. And I can't tell you how many young people have been like, what is the rubric for my success?
Yeah.
Life doesn't come with a rubric.
It doesn't.
And a startup does not come with a rubric. No. And so I would say leave the rubrics back at school, independent minds, curious minds, and you need to be around the people that you're going to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't find your tribe early in your career, it will not get easier.
No. And I would throw in a dash of flexibility and adaptability as well.
Yes. And I think you said, what trait do you look for?
Yeah.
Is really agile thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We made a big decision in the company a month ago to move from a case pack of 24 to a case pack of 12. Mm-hmm. And we needed to make that decision in a week.
Yeah.
Right? So had to rerun margin, rerun math, rerun case packing, and now I have to repack. Right. But making that quick decision will save us in the long run.
Yep. Absolutely.
Flexible.
Oh, totally. Oh my God. Yeah. And I see the guys repacking in the warehouse this week.
I think when they get a little frustrated, they'll go out and pack a few pallets,
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we have a small army of, lovers of Mainelove that come in and help us pack.
I mean, and it's been an amazing first year. What a journey, and exciting,
incredible
and crazy and fun, and what a team. It's just been such an experience.
It's really about the team.
God, it is.
I mean, I've run software businesses. I've run retail stores.
Yeah.
You and I have worked together.
Yeah.
But really, people are selling to people always. And even though I would consider us a B2B company, I would say that B2B2C, at the end of the day, you're always selling to people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about people and connection. And
so I always think, for Mainelove, we want to, drive memories, relationships, and experiences.
Yeah.
And if we can accomplish those three things, people will love whatever they're doing with the people they're doing. We're just along for the ride.
Absolutely. I love that. God, if you were to look in the crystal ball, where we're going to be in, let's say 2 years, 5 years, what do you Like, what's your vision? What's your hope? What's your intention?
My hope is that this is a business in Maine that can really provide an on-ramp to the water economy. We have enough facilities. We know how to do it now. We've got a licensing plan. We're in 13 licenses, 13 states. I've always thought this was a regional brand. Maine to Florida does not make economic sense to ship it, outside of about 500 miles. Yeah. There's a well-worn path to Florida, so it's okay. Yeah. And maybe over as far as Atlanta a little bit. But interestingly, I've had to open my thinking a little bit on that because, some of our relationships are not concerned about moving water.
Yeah.
They're happy to pick up water in a Boston facility, for example, to take it into their network. So I think, as I think about the business, I need to open up my thinking around, I still think we're a beautiful regional brand from Maine to Florida.
Yeah.
But how far west does the quality of the water play?
Yeah.
And does Maine feel the same in Texas as it does in Florida?
Right.
I'm not sure. I think that's what we'll find out.
Yeah. It's going to be a ride. I'm excited. Thank you for this
ride.
Time. It's been a
Jeannie.
blast. And, and stay tuned, everybody, for much more from this small company that is doing big things and doing great things. And I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And thank you, Jen.
I'm so grateful to have you, Jeannie.
It's been a blast.
So fun working with you again.
So fun.
I think the greatest joy to me is to see the people we have around the company, not only working in the company, but the people who have invested in the company, some of our vendors, even the studio here, our photographers.
Yes.
I mean, we feel the love from everyone around us. Yeah. And if we just keep that positivity moving forward and just keep showing our love to others, it feels like a beautiful time to be producing this in Maine.
I mean, it's all about love, and the world needs more love, and that's what we're doing.
One can at a time.
Cheers, everybody. One can at a time. See you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you.